Have you ever been scrolling through social media and suddenly you just half to have that new serum everyone's going crazy for?
It's powerful, right? That whole someone like me idea.
Totally. It's not just big celebrities anymore either.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when that Tarte Swamp Queen palette launched back in 2016, it was everywhere I looked. And it felt way more authentic than other collabs because it fit perfectly with Grav 3 Yard Girl and her whole swamp family thing.
You hit the nail on the head.
It makes sense, though.
That's a perfect example of what cosmetic executive women talked about. That partnership worked so well because Grav 3 Yard Girl's audience already trusted her product recommendations. It wasn't just about buying something, it was like a shared experience with her swamp family. I mean, that palette sold out before it even officially launched. That's the power of an already engaged community right there.
And now with platforms like TikTok and Instagram, it feels like the stakes are even higher. Every time I open those apps, it's just a constant stream of new must-have products.
Yeah, it's a whole different world now. Back in 2017, influencer collaborations were already a big deal. But this article called Six Top Beauty Industry Trends shows how much Gen Z depends on those platforms. And not just to find new products, but to see if they actually live up to the hype.
So true.
They want to see real people they connect with actually using the products. Kind of like getting recommendations from a friend, but on a way bigger scale.
Makes you wonder how brands are going to have to adapt to keep up. Will we start seeing even more niche communities popping up, like centered around certain ingredients or of very specific products? Or maybe we'll get hyper-personalized recommendations based on everything we do online.
The possibilities are exciting when you really think about it. The future of influence might not be so much about the huge names anymore. It might be more about making those deeper, more individual connections with people.
It's weird, right? Like it feels like the beauty industry is kind of changing. It used to be all about having the prettiest packaging and making these big promises. Now I feel like I'm seeing the words clean and natural everywhere. I swear I spent half my time in the store just trying to understand all the ingredients.
It's definitely a shift, and it's about time, right? It's not just marketing anymore. Consumers are way more aware now. They actually want to know what's in their products and how all those ingredients affect them and the planet.
Yeah, we're finally reading the fine print, I guess.
It really is global, too. Look at China. Our research on clean beauty over there is pretty interesting. Consumers there are super concerned about fake products.
Oh, yeah. I remember all those scandals about counterfeit cosmetics a few years back.
Exactly. No one wants to end up with something dangerous. They're demanding safer and healthier products, and they want them to be sustainable, too. So this actually creates a cool opportunity for local Chinese brands, but also for international companies. As long as they're prioritizing ethical and sustainable practices, they have a real shot. And actually, speaking of sustainability, we can't forget about the biotech innovations that the article was talking about.
Biotech in beauty. Okay, now that's cool. How is biotech changing things?
Imagine this. Growing the most potent ingredients in a lab. That means we rely less on traditional farming, which can be really tough on the environment. It's a win-win, and that's what biotech is all about.
Oh.
A great example is alginist. They've got this ingredient, algoronic acid, super powerful anti-aging stuff. And they get it from algae that's grown in a controlled lab environment.
Sustainable skincare from the ocean. That's incredible.
And then there's Evolved by Nature. They're using biotech to make activated silk. It's a sustainable alternative to all those petroleum-based ingredients.
So it's like science fiction, but for skincare. I love it. This whole thing with personalized beauty is really interesting, too. Have you ever done those online quizzes? The ones that are supposed to tell you your perfect skincare routine?
Oh, yeah.
I've totally fallen for them a few times. I'm always hoping to find that magic product.
You're not alone. The research from McKinsey shows that tons of people want that personalized experience, especially younger generations. They don't want a product that's for everyone. They want something that's made just for them, for their skin type and everything.
Makes sense.
Brands like Prose and Function of Beauty are killing it in that department. Prose analyzes your hair type, like everything about it, your concerns, even things like the environmental factors where you live, and then they create a special formula just for you.
That's so cool.
And Function of Beauty is doing the same thing, but for skincare.
I love that. So we've talked about sustainability and personalization. It definitely seems like the beauty industry is finally catching up with what people want. But what about those super intense beauty standards? It feels like there's still a lot of pressure to look a certain way.
I think that's true for sure. There's definitely still pressure, but maybe it's becoming more about individuality. It's not so much about fitting into this one perfect mold
So
anymore.
it's more about embracing what makes you unique.
Exactly. There was this article we looked at Korean versus Chinese beauty standards, and it shows how different those ideals can be, even within the same region.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. We hear so much about K-beauty and that whole youthful, glowy skin thing. But what about China? What's considered beautiful there?
Well, with K-beauty, it's often about having a slim figure and fair skin and that V-shaped face. It's been
Hmm.
really influenced by K-pop and the Hallyu wave, like that huge wave of Korean pop culture that's everywhere now. But China tends to be a bit more focused on a softer, more natural kind of beauty.
So it's less about a specific look and more about an overall feeling.
Right. It's really interesting, actually. In China, there's this huge emphasis on inner well-being and how that connects to outer beauty. So taking care of your mental and physical health is really important.
That's really cool. It's like a more holistic approach.
Right.
But I do feel like social media can sometimes make those pressures worse,
Oh, absolutely.
even with all the good things about it. It can feel like everyone's trying to present this perfect image online.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The CORQ article talked about that a lot, especially how much pressure Gen Z feels to look a certain way online.
It's hard to escape sometimes.
But there is some good news. There's a big movement towards body positivity happening too. Both in China and South Korea, you see people pushing back against those unrealistic standards. It's about encouraging self-acceptance, which is awesome.
It's so great to see that happening more and more. Hopefully it'll make a difference. But it just occurred to me, I feel like we've mostly been talking about women's experiences in the beauty industry. What about men?
Oh, for sure.
It seems like there's been a real shift towards men's grooming and skincare lately.
You're right. The beauty industry is definitely starting to realize that men want products specifically for them too, and they deserve to have them. The article on the future of male beauty market in China was really interesting. It talked about how the market there is growing so quickly.
Oh.
And it's because men are way more open to taking care of their appearance now. Plus, skincare is becoming super popular.
It's not just a quick shave anymore, right? Men are putting together whole skincare routines now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's becoming a form of self-care. And that's really cool to see. And the CRQ article actually said something similar about Gen Z men globally. Skincare is becoming a big deal for them. It's not seen as a vanity thing. It's just part of taking care of yourself.
It's amazing how much things are changing. It's really making me think about my own relationship with beauty. Like, have my routines changed? Am I more aware of ingredients now? Or maybe I'm more drawn to brands that are doing good for the planet.
It's a good question, and it's something we should all be thinking about. I think as we move forward, it's going to be really important for brands to be transparent. Consumers really want to know what's in their products and how those products are impacting the world around them.
I agree.
It's also crucial that we keep working towards a more inclusive and diverse idea of beauty. Celebrating all the differences is what makes this industry so interesting.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's really eye-opening to see how much the beauty industry is changing. And it leaves us with this interesting thought. What if the future of beauty isn't about chasing trends or trying to be perfect? What if it's about feeling good in your own skin? Something to think about.